Surveys conducted in Europe and America show that people are beginning to get tired of war and of helping Ukraine. The countries in the anti-Russian coalition are sending Ukraine a lot of weapons, and Ukrainians are eternally grateful. But these weapons are not enough to liberate the occupied territories and end the war. Here's why. Russia has 5 times the artillery and around 7 times the multiple rocket launchers that Ukraine does. But this is not the main problem. Multiple rocket launchers require rockets. As of October, the US has given Ukraine over 1 million artillery shells. But in the summer, 6,000 to 7,000 shells were launched daily in the battles in the Donbass. And this was only one part of the battlefront. To put it into context, the Russians were able to launch 40,000 to 60,000 shells per day in that same place. This is why, in a recent interview, the commander-in-chief Valery Zaluzhny said, "I need 300 tanks, 600 to 700 infantry fighting vehicles, 500 howitzers. Then I think it will be completely possible to re-establish the borders of February 23rd. No one in Europe was ready for this war. No one except for Russia. They were preparing for the last few years. They collected rockets, which are now destroying Ukraine's infrastructure. They produced hundreds of tons of artillery shells, which they are now using to level Bakhmut, Kherson, and other Ukrainian cities. They manufactured tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, with which they are trying to destroy Ukrainian equipment, including the equipment provided by Ukraine's allies. At the same time, Ukraine's Western partners are spending large sums of money on humanitarian aid. It should not stop, because it is exactly what is saving the lives of a huge number of Ukrainians. Every day, more and more Ukrainians are losing their homes and jobs and are forced to flee. 14.5 million Ukrainians have already left the country, and almost 5 million are internally displaced. All of these people need help because they are innocent victims of war. We sympathize with Europeans and Americans who are tired of war. Ukraine is also tired of it, extremely tired. But unfortunately, the war can only be ended on the battlefield. Putin does not want to negotiate. He wants to annex all of Ukraine, just like he already tried to annex the Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Luhansk oblasts, despite having said the opposite in February.
При этом в наши планы не входит оккупация украинских территорий.
Negotiations are only possible after Ukraine's military victory, because negotiating with terrorists is impossible. They need to be resisted.